most of you don't really know anything about me, and that's okay. A little bit of background. Both my parents, they were born and raised out of the country. They were born in Belize, and they came to the United States at a very young age. I believe my dad was like 16. I think my mom was like 14. Something. They both came in with their families, and the way my dad always puts it is that he felt like, you know that movie Coming to America? I'm blanking on the actor, but like the Prince Akeem, you know, like he comes to America, he doesn't know anything. There's all these culture shock moments and all these cultural barriers and even like language barriers and just general attitude. There's just a lot of things that don't exist in Belize that exist in the United States, especially when it comes to race and identification. And that's more or less gonna be the focus of the video today. I remember talking to my grandma once and asking her what it meant to her and how she felt about being Black. And I remember that she told me that she didn't understand the question because she doesn't view herself as being Black, right? That's not part of her identity. She was born and raised in Belize. Most of her friends and family members are Belizean, and never in her life was she called Black. Not until she came to the United States. Similar story with my dad. To this day, he doesn't identify as Black. I mean, Belizeans, there's a lot of African roots, right? There's a lot of African roots, a lot of Mayan, a lot of Aztec, Spanish roots, things like that. But Blackness isn't something that's very deeply rooted in their culture. Because Blackness, in my opinion, is very like specific to the United States of America. All that being said, me being born and raised in the United States and living in predominantly white neighborhoods, going to predominantly white schools, even predominantly white college. Basically, race was a huge part of my childhood and only continued to be a point of conversation and a point of importance as I continued to grow. Even today, it's something that I struggle with, and it's something that I don't always feel I understand. Part of why that's an issue, or part of why that was an issue growing up, is because being born and raised in the United States, I feel like there was a lot of disconnect to my, Belizean roots, my Belizean culture. Not to say I didn't grow up with any Belizean culture. Obviously, both my parents were Belizean, but it's not like you're living in Belize. It's completely different there. It's completely and totally different there. We were privileged. We lived in a big house. We were well fed, well taken care of, all that stuff. Not to say that Belize is falling apart or anything, but there are areas of Belize that are still very much under development, and Belize as a whole is like a developing country. So there aren't all the luxuries of the United States don't exist in Belize. Growing up in Belize, a lot of places didn't have, consistent electricity, didn't have consistent internet. It's not quite that way anymore. But I remember visiting when I was a child and wanting to play video games and being like, wait, you're telling me you don't have a Nintendo 64? Like, what do you do all day? You know what I mean? Like, that blew my mind. I was like, what do you mean there's no Super Smash Bros? What do you mean there's no Mario Kart? What do you mean, like all the things that I just took for granted and thought were normal just didn't exist there. It was just a different way of living. Anyway, get back on topic. So when I go visit Belize, I'd see my cousins, I'd see uncles, I'd see aunts, I'd see relatives, and I didn't speak Creole. I didn't have an accent like they did. I didn't use the language that they did. I didn't dress like they did. I didn't walk like they did. I didn't watch the TV shows they did. I didn't like the music they did. I was a foreigner, for all intents and purposes. I was a complete stranger to them, and my way of living was completely strange to them. So even though they accepted me because I was family, I still always felt like I didn't belong. And that always made it difficult for me to call Belize home. Because how am I gonna be among all these Belizean people and they just see me as, no, they didn't see me as American, right? Because Belize is in Central America. Don't get it twisted. If you go to Belize and say that you're from America, people get mad at you. You say, no, I'm from the States. Like the United States. You don't say I'm American, you say I'm from the States. people will fight you over that. Anyway, so I was in Belize, and they're like, no, like, you're a Yankee. You know, Belize was colonized by the British until like 1960 something. So there's a lot of like British slang that they use. But you know, I had people call me Yanks, stuff like that. It's like, nah, you're not Belizean. You're not really Belizean. You know what I mean? But like, as far as I was concerned, I was. And then I come back to the States, and they're like, oh, no, you're not, you know, you're not Belizean, you're black. And I'm like, what? You know what I mean? I was like, what? What does it even mean? And then Black Americans were like, nah, you're not black, you're white. Because I didn't talk like them, I didn't act like them, I didn't dress like them, I didn't like the music they like. You know what I mean? It's like, I couldn't find a community of people that I felt like I could connect with, and I couldn't find a community of people that I really felt like accepted me for who I was. And that made it difficult for me to like create and identify who I was. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that can relate to that, especially like first and second generation people coming from different countries. You know, even if you live among, you know, your people, if you aren't raised with the language and the culture and the community, and you're more Americanized, and see, there's me using that word Americanized, but I mean, that's what it is, then I feel like it's very easy to fall into this like weird floaty middle ground area of, I'm not quite this, I'm not quite this, but I'm also not fitting here, and I don't belong here. It's like, we grew up with labels. So when there is no label that fits you, it just makes you feel that much more weird. And I don't think I've quite gotten over that. I don't know if I ever will get over that. Just like that feeling of needing to find a sense of belonging and needing to find a place of purpose and a place of, these are my people. Yeah. That's all I have. That's all I really have. I just wanted to get that out there. And if that's something that you can relate to, I'd love for you to share that with me, just what your experiences are like, and if that's something that you can relate to as well. You know, we're all here together, we're all in this together, and I think that this is an opportunity for, you know, maybe this is an opportunity for us to create that space for ourselves and each other. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.